let me face down. And don't take this personal. Just words, you know what you've done to me.
Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel, Simply Kee Samone. If you are new here, I want to say welcome, and if you're returning, I want to say welcome back. Here on my channel, I talk all things mindset, growth, and lifestyle, and today we are diving into a video that is well and long overdue. I am going to be sharing with you all my transition journey out of the military 2 years later. I made, I think, 2 videos about this. I made a video on like my last day when I was finally out of the Army, and then I made kind of like a follow-up, I want to say like mid-year after I got out. So now here we are almost 2 years later. In a few months it would have been my 10-year Armyversary. So I am super excited to just share my experience, you know, give anyone who is getting ready to transition out, thinking about transitioning out, you know, wondering, is this the right move? If they, you know, if you might need a little bit of motivation, words of encouragement, or just want to hear somebody else's experience, that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you are interested, just keep on watching. All right, y'all. So y'all know when I come sit down, whether it's on this couch or whether it's upstairs in my blue chair, we're going to be sitting down and we're going to be talking about some things. I'm going to be giving you some either perspective, personal experience, information that I learned, all of those things. So I love to talk y'all head off. So that's what we're doing today. Thank you also to my homegirl Rhonda. She is the one who gave me the idea of doing a follow-up, a transition life update, how life has been outside of the Army. And I also recently got a very moving comment on one of my Army videos, or like getting out of the Army videos. I'll pop that right here. If you haven't seen it after this video, definitely go check that out and just experience my last day and the emotions and everything that I went through, and just how I was feeling, and how I was feeling like a little while after I got out. And then now we're going to get into how I'm feeling today. So thank you, Rhonda, so much, because this video is definitely overdue. But again, like I said, I love to share my experiences, and I love to share knowledge in order to help people. That's pretty much what I've been doing on my channel for the past almost 4 years. So yeah. All right, so I have my notes here. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm looking at. I always do like outlines for my videos, but I really don't want to miss anything important. But I did kind of break this down into 3 sections. So I'm just going to be sharing with you like a summary of my career for those of you who this is your first time ever seeing me and don't know who I am. I'll give you like a quick rundown of my career just to give you an overview, and then also what my transition consisted of, what a military transition consists of, no matter who you are, no matter what branch, what that looks like and what it looked like for me. And then also my journey after that, what the last 2 years of my life have looked like, almost 2 years. And yeah, just details and, you know, feelings and information and all that. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so first up, summary of my career. I joined the Army in 2013, October 8th, 2013. That was my ship date to basic training. So I was 20 years old. Prior to that, I had went to college for a year. I went to cosmetology school after that. I worked 2 jobs at once, and I had like moved back into my mom's basement, and I felt like I needed a change. I was like, I'm not with this. First of all, living back under my mother's roof, that was a negative, because I'm a very, I'd say, hyper independent person, which there's flaws and benefits to that, because sometimes it's hard for me to accept help or to feel like that I'm a burden on somebody. So I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work for me. All my friends, like, they're still out at college, like they're, you know, living their best life. Well, from what I thought, living their best life, you know, what it looks like from the outside looking in. So I'm like, no, I can't be doing this. Like, I'm working 2 jobs. I'm still not making that much money. And I'm living under my mom's roof. So that was a no-go. So that was really what initiated me wanting to join, going to join, things like that. So that was why. So my job and my experience, I joined as a 25 Bravo, which is an IT specialist. I knew that I wanted to make sure that I chose a career field that would help me on the outside, I just knew that I wanted a way to take care of myself, get on my feet, get out on my own. So I knew I needed to choose either healthcare or IT. So I ended up choosing IT because healthcare, I was like, I don't know. Healthcare is not really my thing. So I was like, yeah, this healthcare ain't gonna do it for me. I'm going with IT. I remember the recruiter was telling me, he was like, yeah, it's not guaranteed, blah, blah, blah. Little did he know, I had a mother who was prior service and who was also a recruiter and could, let me know when these jobs were open for sure. So I went in initially by myself, like to the recruiting station, talking to the recruiter. And then the next time I came back in, I came back with my mom, and he was kind of singing at a different tune. And he was like, we're going to get you what you want. We're going to get you what you want. And at that time, you could leave, go into the Army, you could show up at the recruiting station and be gone 2 months later. I'm pretty sure it's like that now because pretty sure retention is not that good in the military, but we'll get into that a little bit later down the line. But yes, I went in as an IT specialist. So working with computers, software, networking, learning how to make internet cables, like all of the things. That's what I was going to do. I was in for 8 years, a little over 8 years, like 8 years and some change. And I actually did really, really well in the Army. I made it to the rank of E6, which is Staff Sergeant. I think in my 7th year being in, or like was it the end of my 6th year? Or 7th year, I made E6, one of those. But pretty much my career progression within the Army was very good. I felt like I was a great NCO. I felt like I was a really good soldier. Of course, like any young soldier, like I love to party, I love to have fun with my friends, but I always made sure I was where I needed to be. I was in the right place, right time, right uniform, and making sure that I handled the things that I needed to get done. Because if anything, regardless, one thing about me, if I don't want to do it, okay, cool, fine. But if I know that this is something that I have to do, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. It's kind of like a pride thing with me. Like if my name is tied to something, that's one of my fatal flaws. I don't want to say fatal flaw, but I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. So I would like to, make sure that I was on my stuff, like make sure that I was doing what I needed to do to get promoted, making sure that, I prepared for my PT test when I needed to, or if I knew we had like some inventory or some type of due out training coming up, like even though I knew I didn't want to do it, I was like, I'm going to do this to the best of my ability. And I feel confident in saying that my peers and my, superiors, they would say the same. But ultimately, I worked really hard. I definitely had a lot of good happen to me in the military, but I also had a lot of bad happens. And I mean, that comes with anything in life. Once you go through it, you are going to have good and bad things that happen. So you take the good with the bad. But I definitely don't regret my decision to join because it put me in a position that I wouldn't have been in if I didn't. So I will be forever grateful for the opportunity that joining the Army gave me, and just the sense of independence that I was craving, and developed me into the woman that I am today. So why I got out. So I bet you're wondering, like at this moment, like, well, if you were doing so good and you were progressing and, you were climbing the rank structure, why would you get out? Like, why would you end that? Why would you like give away that sense of security? Because you get, your healthcare paid for, housing paid for, essentially food paid for. It may not be the food that you want, but it's edible. You are held to a standard as far as your physical health. So I was healthy physically. Not everyone in the military is healthy physically, but I definitely took pride in being able to accomplish my PT test and all physical tasks because I was that independent woman. I'm gonna carry my own rucksack, okay? So I took pride in a lot of that. So the reason that I got out was just honestly, physically, mentally, and emotionally, I was depleted. I felt depleted. I was depleted. Not only did I feel depleted, I felt like that I had been giving and giving and giving so much of myself while I was in so many different directions of my life without too much emotional support to fall back on, or just support in general. Again, like I said, I'm a very hyper independent person. So there would be times where I felt like I, needed some type of support, and I didn't reach out for that because of whether it be pride reasons or whether I just didn't want people in my business, or, I didn't want people to get this persona of me and it contradict my success while I was in, if that makes sense. Or I didn't want people to look at me differently if I felt like, I needed help in some areas. So eventually, if you go so long and you ignore the things that your body needs, your mind needs, your heart needs, not leaning on any type of faith, or just kind of just rolling with the punches, you are going to end up down bad. And for an 8-year time period, that is a long time to just neglect yourself in certain ways, or to feel alone in certain times, or to have gone through a lot of dark times and not necessarily felt like that you had someone to pour back into you. So I felt like I was just pouring out a lot of me, and there wasn't a lot being poured back. Yes, I was being taken care of, but having a roof over your head and food in your mouth, yes, like that right there is the basic necessities. But also being nurtured, and taking care of yourself mentally is very, very important. When you don't necessarily have, I guess, the right guidance in self-care and mental care around you, you kind of don't know to do those things until it's too late. That's one of the things that, or a multitude of things that really just all was like, you know what, I can't do this. I wasn't happy in what I was doing anymore. I didn't feel like there was a purpose in what I was doing anymore. Yes, I was serving my country, but I didn't feel happy in what I was doing anymore. I felt like, the people that I was around, people like the units that I was in, the leadership that I had, not everybody has everybody's best interest in mind, and it shows. Okay. If you're active duty right now, you may have experienced some toxic leadership, or, been around your battle buddies or your fellow airmen or seamen or whatever branch that you may be in. You could possibly relate to this, and it just makes you feel alone. It really does. Even in a formation full of soldiers, you can feel so alone and so empty, and nobody even know it. So yes, that's essentially why I got out. I just felt drained. I didn't feel like that I was working towards what I wanted to work towards. I don't believe in continuing to do something just because it is providing for you. I am always in search of fulfillment and what my true life's purpose is. And I feel like in the military, like, you can do that if that's really what you want. But if that's not really what you want, you'll never feel fulfilled, no matter what the rank is you get, no matter what the pay raises you get, no matter what type of house you live in. You may not feel that sense of fulfillment. Like, you're going to feel empty. Like, it's kind of like when celebrities are talking about, oh, I had the money, I had the cars, I had this, I had that. But you still see them, unalive themselves, and they had everything in the world. So it's like, why, how could you possibly feel empty and you have all these things, or you have all these people around you? And it's not about that. Not for me anyway. I want to feel fulfilled. I want to live a life with purpose. I want to help other people not necessarily find their purpose, but guide them and be a light to them. And I can't be a light if my bulb is burned out. That was essentially what I made the decision that, yes, this is right for me. Definitely, while you're in, take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally. If you need something, reach out to people. Don't let alcohol and partying and things, material things, and your rank, don't allow that or put that as the, I guess, remedy to make you feel better. Because at the end of the day, it's not. No, that was a super long excuse. But yes, ultimately, that was just why I got out. I felt like that there was something greater waiting for me. I felt like the time frame that I did serve was well served, and I could be proud of that. So I was like, there's no way that I can walk away regretting what I've done or regretting what I'm about to do. If I had an honorable 8 years of service, and I'm very, very proud of what I did. And Yes. Okay, so what my transition consisted of, or what normally a transition consists of, which is of course SFL TAP. I'm not sure if it's either Soldier for Life, SFL TAP, same thing. You go through a set of courses and classes that will help you to transition out. So if you've never written a resume, if you've never had a job interview, if you've never worked in a field, or if you didn't work in a field while you were active duty, that was something that could easily transition into the civilian world and make money from, you were able to access educational resources for that. So you do go through that. I had jobs and things like that before the military. And I feel like I've always been pretty good at, acquiring employment, or, writing a resume. It was definitely good to brush up on those skills because I hadn't been in an interview for a long time and I hadn't written a resume for a long time. But it was definitely good. So you will have support there. But what I will say is showing up to the classes and taking those courses is not enough. You have to actually put in the effort yourself to seek out the information that you truly need. One thing that I say, or one thing that I've noticed, is it is a very, very underutilized opportunity. Like, people will go just to get out of work, but they're not taking it seriously. Not everybody takes it seriously. So I hate when I hear, veterans or like my peers say like they really didn't have any help or support when they got out, because there is help and support. You just have to seek that out. Like, you have to do your research. If you have a question, if there's something that you want to do, like, you really have to seek that out, because the guidance and the support is there. You just have to go after it. I know not all guidance is great or good, but again, it's all in what you put in it and how you go about it. And also make sure that you have a plan. If you don't have a plan or any like type of idea of what it is that you want to do, if you want to start a business, if you want to get into social media, if you want to, transition to another career field, if you want to continue in your career field, whatever that may be, if you want to move, you need to have a plan in place. So along with the resources and benefits, of course, as long as you got out honorably and you have been in, I think, as long as you were in for, please correct me if I'm wrong, as long as you were in for a year, I think you will get your GI Bill. That could be wrong. I will fact check myself. But as long as you were in for a certain amount of time and you got out honorably, you will have access to your GI Bill. So if you want to go back to school full time, you can do that for free. And then also you'll get paid BAH for every month that you're actively in school. So I don't think you'll get paid BAH for the summertime, but you definitely will be paid to go to school. So that is an option. There's also vet tech, which is not like, I guess, a full-time college type thing. That's like more of a certification route. Like if you wanted to switch to IT, a lot of IT positions, you really just need certifications and the experience of some type of training and the willingness to learn, and you can get into a help desk position in as small as 6 months. Like it's that easy. My wife actually transitioned from logistics into IT, so I know that it is very much so possible. So certification programs, if that's something that you want to look into, you could tap into that as well. And also SkillBridge. If you are able to utilize SkillBridge and your unit signs off on you going through a SkillBridge program, I highly, highly recommend utilizing that. So SkillBridge is when you are able to go, I believe you have to be 6 months out from your ETS date, and you're able to go work for a company and basically be an intern there. They won't pay you, but you'll still be getting your active duty pay, and you can learn the skills. And if they essentially like you, if you did your job, then they can hire you on afterwards, or you can use that experience to put on your resume going forward to a different job. So there's definitely plenty of things that you can utilize in your transition. So when those older senior NCOs try to scare you, or when they try to dim your light whenever it is that you start talking about, oh, I want to get out, or you try to reach out to, officers and NCOs that are over. Child, my phone just keeps going off. Anywho, so when you try to reach out to friends, when you try to reach out to NCOs and officers and things like that, if you feel like anybody is discouraging you, telling you that this is probably the best option for you to stay in, if you truly feel like that it's not the best option for you to stay in, you do not have to listen to that. Okay, there is a life outside of the military that you can take control of. If you're not one of those types of people that, you know, likes to plan things, likes to be in charge of themselves, then this might be not the best decision until you do have a plan. But if you're the complete opposite and you know that you don't need somebody to tell you what time to get up in the morning, what time you need to be where you need to go here to do this and take care of your business and things like that, you will be okay. The resources are there, I promise you. And then also, one of the great things is once you get your DD 214, if you are in a middle ground period where you haven't found employment yet or you're not going to school yet, you are able to utilize unemployment for 6 months. It is a by state basis, but in the state of Texas, you can get unemployment for I think the longest time is 6 months, but you have to actively be seeking employment or either in school. So keep that in mind. That's a great tidbit. That's something that can help you out. Also, make sure that you are utilizing your VA benefits. If you do not file for some type of VA claim, if you've ever went to the doctor for anything, stub toe, flat feet, shin splints, all of that stuff, make sure that you get with a VSO and discuss your options on what you have access to when it comes to filing a VA claim. So keep those in mind. Basically, that was like what my transition consisted of, all of those things, and also what is available to you just to help anybody else who may not have taken that route. So I did decide to take a year off. I didn't go straight into working. And one thing that I will say, if you're not currently like pursuing something, not necessarily at a 9 to 5 or at school, but if you're not pursuing something like starting a business or you already had something going on, please make sure that you have multiple streams of income coming in to support yourself. At the time, I was able to support myself. I'm married, my wife was employed, I had money in savings, and I had multiple streams of income. Of course, my YouTube channel, partnerships that I was doing, a lot of different things. So make sure that you do what's best for you and for your situation. Please do not be naive and do not play yourself, okay? Because the economy out here, stuff is expensive. Okay, stuff is expensive. So please make sure that you have a financial plan in order to take care of yourself if you do not go into work immediately. When I did get out, I definitely underestimated the mental shift that I was going to have to go through, the mindset shift that I was going to have to go through, just because when you're in the military, like I said, you know, things are laid out for you. It's basically you do what you're told, and you wear what you're told to wear, you bring the items you're told to bring, and you're just working within the parameters of what has been laid out for you. So even with knowing this and being the type of person that I am, it still was a complete mindset shift. I told y'all I worked really hard while I was in the military to be successful while I was in. And I immediately, after I was having fun and, you know, enjoying my birthday, like on my terminal leave and traveling with my wife and things like that. She was getting ready to go overseas. So we were like living up our time together. And as soon as she went overseas and I was like, I'm really out. Like, I'm not just on leave. Like, I'm really out. I had an overwhelming sense of failure come over me. And y'all, I don't know what it was. As soon as the happy wore off, like the sadness came in and it was crazy. Don't get me wrong. I was very grateful that I was able to make an exit and still be taken care of and being able to provide for myself. And, you know, my wife and I are providing for each other. Very, very much so grateful in that. But the fact that I had just been doing something for so long, 8 years is such a long time to be doing something. And that was the majority of my 20s. I joined at 20 and I got out at 28. So I almost didn't have an identity anymore. I definitely did have an identity and like my own personality and things like that. But it was like, I didn't have the thing anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have the thing that I could be proud of, that I could just like approach somebody and be like, yeah, I'm this, and I do this, and that, and the third. So I've kind of felt like I had disappointed myself, even though I knew it was the best decision for myself. So that was like a mental hurdle that I had to get past. And I'm not saying that everybody will have to deal with that, but it is something that you should be aware of. Going from such a structured lifestyle to now you make your own decisions. Now, you know, the sky is the limit. It is a it's a shift. So don't underestimate it. Definitely make sure that you have a support group, support team, supportive friends, family members, spouse. If you don't have a spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, whomever, friend, therapist, counselor, make sure that you have someone to be there for you in the times where you feel like, damn, like, what do I do now? Make sure that you have that support around you. Do not alienate yourself. Do not isolate yourself, and just be honest with yourself whenever you need something. Ask for it and you shall receive. Just make sure that you have really loving and supportive people around you, because you're really going to need it. Whenever you see veterans that, you know, are homeless on the side of the road, or maybe amputees, like have limbs amputated, or, you know, they're battling PTSD and things like that. That stuff is so real, y'all. And I'm not saying by any means that my situation or what I was going through at the time is anything compared to the things that I just listed, but everybody in their own right has things that they have to get past mentally once you do get out, and it is a struggle. So please make sure that you have that support system around you. And even if you don't physically have that support system around you, join communities online, look up YouTube videos like this, go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to all across social media platforms. Or forums online. You will find people that are just like you. If you don't have anyone to talk to, make sure that you do look out for that and reach out to people that way. So my feelings 2 years later, again, I'm almost 2 years later, but we're just gonna say 2 years later. I am in a space where I am finally figuring out who I am outside of the military. I know it seems like it's been so long, but again, something that you're doing for 8 years, and for some people 10, 12, 15 years, 20 years, like, it's a lot to take in and to digest. Like, who are you really? Who are you outside of your rank? Who are you outside of your uniform? Those things are really important, and it's not something to be taken lightly. I feel like I'm just now coming into my own. I know that my personality and just the things that I've been interested in the past, I'm interested in so many different things, but I'm definitely a creative soul at heart. Even though I was a quote unquote IT nerd, IT wasn't my life. IT is not my passion. And yes, it makes money. And yes, it is, you know, a good means of income. And I know a lot of people would love to be in that field. And that I definitely am a advocate for the IT field, because there's so much potential. So many different things are changing with AI and just everything in the IT world. Like, there's so many things to get into that you could earn a substantial income from. But I am a creative at heart. I am a caregiver at heart. I want to be of service. I'm a creative, loving, emotional person that is very empathetic and very, very hopeful in the fact that I can, you know, help other people through, whether it be my life experience or knowledge that I have, or just, you know, being that space, which is why I created my YouTube channel. So if you've been following me along my journey, or if you don't know, I do have vlogs. I have been putting up a lot of mindset, personal development type content here recently. So those are things that speak more to my dreams and my passions and what I feel like my calling in this season of life is. So it was definitely a struggle for a while. I'm not gonna lie. It was a struggle as far as just figuring out what I wanted to do. I've had 2 jobs since I've been out of the military, and it kind of, that's when you find out, like, okay, is this what I really want to do? You know, do I want to go in this direction? Do I want to go in this direction? So definitely know that you need to take it one day at a time. You're not going to figure out exactly what it is that you want to do overnight, maybe not even in 60 days, 90 days, maybe not even a year, but just do what you need to do for you in order to take care of yourself financially. There are so many different ways to make money these days. So tap into those. You just have to actually put in the effort and the time to do it. Again, like I said earlier, with like the resources and getting out, you have to take the time to utilize those resources. And if you don't take that time, I mean, the only person you kind of have to blame is not anybody else. But we are definitely in control of our future, our destinies, where we go. And yeah. So that is more towards my passions, and my feelings are, I'm still super proud of my military service. I do know that the military as a whole is changing a lot. And there are a lot of like disheartening things that happen in the military. So I have my mixed feelings about the service right now as it stands, like me being out, but I do not think by any means that it is a bad route for someone to go that needs that lift in life or needs that motivation. But same way as like when you're getting out, going in, you should also have a plan. Going in, you should also have like a hope of something. Like, what is the outcome? Do you know you want to stay in for 20 years? Do you know you want to go in and, you know, go to college and get an education paid for? Do you know you want to go in because of this X amount of years? You know, just make sure that you have a plan in place. And I know plans change. One thing that I keep hearing is, you know, tell God your plans and he'll laugh at you. I think that's how the saying goes. So be ready to pivot, be flexible, and just be ready for a lot of change, because it's going to come. It's most definitely going to come. And if you don't like change, then you sit in one spot, and then a couple years from now, you're looking at yourself in the same spot like, dang, ain't nothing happened. That's because you were afraid of change, and change is uncomfortable. But one thing that I am very good at is pivoting. So here we are. I think that my transition as a whole was very successful. It was very transformative. I'm so happy to be stepping into this new chapter of my life again. I'm going to turn 30 in 2 months. So I am super excited for what's on the horizon. What else do I have written down to talk about? What do y'all want to know? I guess I could wrap up with just some motivation and words of hope for anyone who is planning on getting out, want to get out, but are not quite sure if that's the right move for them. Again, like I said earlier, make the decision for yourself. Don't make the decision because someone else got out and you see them living their best life and now you feel like, you know, all right, if they did it, I could do it, which is very much true. Whatever you see somebody else doing, you can very much do that for yourself. But do you have the self-discipline? Do you have the drive? Do you have the motivation? Do you have the plan? Do you know why you're doing it? What's your why? Not everybody has a very strong why. My very strong why kind of came to me abruptly because my body and my mind and my spirit was broken. And that's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to get to that place, because digging yourself out of a hole that's so deep is really, really hard. So I just want to, you know, be a word of affirmation, a positive enforcement on or reinforcing what you already know in your mind. If you feel like that this is the right step for you, take it. Seek out advice and reach out, get those resources that you need. And any naysayer negativity around you, whether it be family, friends, your superiors, and your peers, block that out, because at the end of the day, you have to live for yourself. You have to do what's right for you. You have to feel like you have to do what you feel is best for you. If it's on your heart, and it's something that you're replaying over and over again, if you can even envision yourself doing something else, then it might just very well be time to do so. But just make sure that you utilize the resources, because the military is going to use you up. Okay? The military is going to get what they came to get. They're going to get what needed to be given. Okay? It's up to you to make sure that you get what you need to get in return. Be proud of your military service, whether it was 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 20 years. Be proud of your service, because less than 1 or 2% of the population actually ever even join the military. It takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of just intestinal fortitude, mental strength, physical strength, all of these things, especially if you have kids and you're joining and you're single. You are going to be away from your children. You're going to be away from your friends and, you know, what has been your norm for a long time. And a lot of people are not going to be able to relate to that. So just know that what you're doing is special. There is purpose behind it. If you're in a unit or a negative space where you feel like, you know, what am I even doing this for? You know, someone is keeping me from progressing in my career, because it is possible in the military. Someone could literally not like you, that's over you, and it will stop you. And that's something that I just don't agree with. I feel like that your career and your trajectory should be based purely off of your ability to succeed and get what you need to get done. But unfortunately, that is not the reality. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of people understand that and know that. And it's unfair, yes. Also, there's a lot of, you know, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, because people are going through a lot. Like, people are going through so much in the military. And I don't think people understand to what extent it is. Even if it's not physically, oh my goodness, I was on a roll. I am so sorry, guys. If the lighting changed or if anything changed, my battery died, so I had to change that out, but not sure where I was at. But I know I was giving y'all a motivational message and I was on a roll. But yes, just essentially be proud of your military service. It doesn't matter what you've done, what you haven't done, what someone has kept you from. There are a lot of broken people in the military, and there's a lot of people that get out even after a 20+ year career, and they're broken. And this is not to say or discredit anybody who gets out and they're perfectly fine. That's okay too. Like, I'm not saying that everybody is going to have the same experience by any means necessary. Again, I'm super proud for the experience and the opportunity. And a lot of people do have very easy careers or an easier career than some people who really have it tough or have it hard. A lot of people experience a lot of abuse and just craziness on top of the just basic requirements that the military asks of you. So yes, that is basically my spiel on everything. I think I touched on pretty much everything that I wanted to touch on. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments. I will be more than happy to give you my advice or kind of point you in the right direction if that is what you're needing. Yeah, I just want to be a beacon of hope, beacon of light. You can do this. If this is what you really want to do, pray on it, sleep on it, journal about it, talk to somebody that you really, really trust who is qualified to give you advice in this area, because not everybody, like your homies and certain family members, like, they're not all qualified to give you accurate advice on what it is that you need to do. So be sure to have some discernment when you are disclosing your plans to people, because a lot of people will try to dim your light. And it's not saying that everybody's going to do this on purpose, because some people do it unknowingly just because they fear an outcome for you. But you cannot allow other people's fears or even your own fears to stop you from doing something that you feel like is best for you. We all have decisions to make, and we learn from them every single day. I'm still learning from all of my decisions every single day, so just keep that in mind. So this about wraps up this video. Thank you so much for tuning in and sharing space with me today. If you know someone who may need this video, please be sure to share it with them. If you enjoyed this video yourself, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below, and also do not forget to hit that subscribe button. Turn on your post bell notifications so that you'll be notified every time I post a new video. And then also do not forget to slide on over to Instagram and follow me there at _Kee Samone, and the same on TikTok. And yes, I will just see you all in the next video.